Whether us Michigan fans like it or not, Michigan football is about to enter a new era, and it all rests on the head, feet, and shoulders of Jim Harbaugh. I was listening to a video by 24/7 Sports talking about the different pressures on different head coaches entering the 2021 season, and Harbaugh's was by far the most obvious 10 out of 10 pressure on him coach. There doesn't seem to be much gray area, and from what Josh Pate was talking about, the fan base is basically in the mood where if Washington or Wisconsin turns out to be a loss, the season's over and all hope is lost. I also heard Steve Dace talk about how really the fan base is just indifferent and they don't care anymore, and that Michigan, for the first time in years, and I mean years, is expected to do absolutely nothing. 2021 might be a historic low for Michigan football in terms of interest, bringing in revenue, and and expectations as well. It's a historically low season in that regard, and I'd want to talk about that. Talk about the different forks in the road that Michigan can take, the different outcomes, talk about what I think Jim Harbaugh's job security range is, his minimum, what he needs to get at minimum to stay, whether 8-4 or 9-3 regular season will cut it or not. I'll talk more about that too. But first off, I want to get off my chest my personal deal entering the 2021 football season, and I have to tell you, it's hopeless. And I'm the fan who's still thinking 8-4 is possible, maybe 9-3, and I do have Michigan's ceiling even higher than that. But the ceiling at this point, ceilings for most teams, unless they really shock you, are almost fantasy land. And I'm done. I'm not indifferent about the season. I'm still passionate about my team, obviously, but I'm done with the mediocrity, and I'm done with people defending this man and defending what he is doing to this program. We are seeing what Michigan State suffered from in 2016 to 19 being acted out right now. A refusal to let go of control of team functions. And I mean, the only different thing is, we hired and revamped the staff, and we finally put a focus on OSU in the locker room, but it's too late. We've already become the joke, and the program's already being, it seems like, torn down. And maybe there is some hope, and we'll get to that possible hope later, but I'm exhausted looking at this team, looking what people are saying about it. I mean, the only reason I'm predicting 8-4 is I just can't see us losing to some of these dreadfully awful teams that people think we will lose to. And maybe that's just me refusing to accept the reality that Michigan's finally once again reached a bottom feeding level, and Harbaugh's kind of in the later Brady Hoke years, late Mark D'Antonio years of just endless decline and digging further the pothole that seems to be the Michigan football program. It's awful. It's embarrassing is what it is. I mean, getting top 15 recruiting classes every year, only winning 10 games, getting destroyed by Wisconsin and Penn State every other year, and then getting destroyed by Ohio State and our bowl opponent every year. It's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting, and I don't get how anyone at this point, for now, can defend this man. And I'm defending him and still having hope that we can do well is completely different. But because I do have a little bit of hope for this season, still, surprisingly, but I can't defend him. And what's made matters worse too is this guy still has the audacity to speak his mind, especially on the Bo Schembechler investigation, like whatever, that whole debacle. He speaks his mind on that in an instant and says what he wants to say, and without even basically he was calling the victims liars in a certain regard, and it's hard to watch him talk. It's hard to watch him act. It's hard to watch him do anything without subtly cringing inside. And I know that you Buckeyes who are listening to this, and you Spartans, and everyone else is happy, because everyone else at this exact moment is absolutely laughing at us, and kind of rightfully so. I mean, we have endorsed meh in mediocrity, and one of my questions listed up there, the two main ones, and has Michigan embraced meh? And for now, that's the absolute case. Now, I can give some grace with the fact that we had about like an $80 million, like close to deficit from last season from COVID. We had 80 million less than what we normally bring in. And I mean, you couldn't have fired him last year because his buyout was so big, but the renegotiated contract, I just think, and this is going to lean right into me talking about the expectations and all this other junk, but really what it should be is, and I've said this before, get 11 wins or you're fired. That's what it should be. Or finish in the AP poll top 9. So, like, finish with your best season you've had at Michigan, ranking-wise and win percentage-wise, better than 2016, or you're fired. That's what it should be. How it actually is more like if you go 9-3 and you lose to Penn State and Wisconsin, or as long as they're of course good, losing to any team, in my opinion, any team that finishes worse than 9-3, losing to them is almost an instant death sentence for this man. But if, let's say you lose, Wisconsin, Penn State, and Ohio State are all better than Michigan next year. Let's theorize that. Even though I think Penn State will be at a similar level to Michigan, let's just theorize that Penn State, Wisconsin, Ohio State are all better, or even all drastically better, and we only lose to them, and we're somewhat competitive with all of them, even with Ohio State. And then he goes to a bowl game and somehow wins it. The sad reality is that would probably get him he wouldn't get fired. They'd let him stay. And that's the problem. And that's the gray area too. The gray area is you go 9-3 or 10-2, you're modestly competitive with OSU, and if you're 10-2, you lose your bowl game to a really good team that was probably cheated out of the playoff in a New Year's Six bowl, or 9-3, you beat a lower ranked New Year's Six bowl opponent if you reach the New Year's Six bowl while being 9-3, or you win a Citrus Bowl or something similar, still against a ranked opponent too. And really, that's what frustrates me. It should be cookie cut, clear. Get 11 wins, improve, do the best you've ever done, so you can show the fan base that we're alive and not dead in a ditch, or you're fired. That's what it should be. But that's not what it's going to be, because there are many complicated and intricate things that involve hiring and firing a coach. And really what it is too is just the insanity of some of my fan base. There are still people that defend this guy and claim that no one else will do better. And it's just ridiculous. And doing that is defending Jim Harbaugh is preventing Michigan from possibly entering a new era of bounce back under a better head coach. We've tried 3 times to hire the guy. The guy isn't here, and it's time to just keep plugging along and keep working and find the guy that can beat OSU and win a Big Ten title and reach the playoff. All we've been at most is good. We've never, ever, under Harbaugh, Hoke, or Rich Rod, have been great. And it's absolutely frustrating. And it's absolutely ridiculous, too, with the amount of talent we've had, with the positions we've been in at certain parts of the seasons. It's ridiculous. It's asinine is what it is. And it's so frustrating. But to finally get to the point, will Jim Harbaugh survive 2021? My answer is no. He won't. And really, if we're truly being realist here and we're taking out the theory of what if they reach their true ceiling potential and only lose to Ohio State and get 11 wins, because that's different. If we're living in the 98% of simulating the 2021 season, that box of 98% of simulations, this man's fired. Absolutely fired. And if he isn't out of that, then I don't know what to tell you about our administration as a school, and especially the athletic director. But this guy right here, I really don't see how he can coach this team to 10-2 or to 11-1. I can't. Now I think that would be the maximum ceiling, but I just can't see it. And I think that another 9-3 season, the fan base will be apathetic. Some angry donors will start paying for his next to nothing buyout. It's only a million, which is nothing compared to other Power 5 coaches. It will just what should have been done after last year. And some would even say 2019. What should have been done then will finally be done in 2021. With him talking about Bo being as obnoxious as he is and not winning anything, I don't see how anyone in their right mind after next year, unless he goes an 11-1 regular season or maybe 10-2 with the New Year's Six Bowl win, I can't see how he can stay. I can't. I absolutely cannot. Now, to get to the hopeful part, if the only hope for us, there's two routes to this. That this is two of the forks in the road. One of which is we just continue to go down this path. We keep hiring and firing coaches. That's like the hopelessness path. The other path is we stay on mediocrity with Jim Harbaugh, which I don't think will happen because the fan base is getting apathetic or toxic or just rightfully mad with near righteous anger at how bad this football program is. So I don't think that will happen, despite that being an option. The other fork in the road is somehow Jim Harbaugh becomes this great and elite head coach under pressure. And we find out that under pressure, this guy can actually function. That, again, very doubtful. Very doubtful that will happen. In fact, that's probably more doubtful than us sticking with his mediocre edition of himself. And the fourth one is we fire him and we get someone new, someone with hope, someone who's been proven, whether that's Matt Campbell or Luke Fickell or other names that I can't think of right now because I'm plain exhausted. But really, you have to look forward. We can't be afraid as Michigan fans we can't be afraid of hiring another bust, because keeping with the same mediocre guy in Jim Harbaugh will get us absolutely nowhere, and it will only lead to further disaster. This man, in my opinion, is on the number one hot seat in the nation. If he isn't fired in 2021, the athletic director has absolutely no guts, or Harbaugh put himself together his best season ever. But Michigan, for now, has sadly embraced quote-unquote meh. They've embraced mediocrity. Parts of the fan base have even accepted it. You have news reporters constantly telling the entirety of the college football fan base that Michigan's never been an elite program, which is an absolute lie. We are definitely all-time a very elite program. And Another thing too is, again, have to repeat myself here to finish out the video. Jim Harbaugh, a prediction of mine, he will not survive 2021. He will be gone. He will absolutely be gone. And that's mainly because I can't see him getting anything better realistically than 8-4 or 9-3 next year. If you like this video, remember to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell and comment your thoughts below. Again, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment your thoughts, and check out some of my other videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.